Today's video is a news video with some interesting news in the charging infrastructure world and also some not so good news. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard that Ecotricity are changing their charging for their electric highway. So the first thing they've introduced is they're scrapping the £3 connection charge for everybody. No one will pay a £3 connection charge anymore, and they're changing to a kilowatt model. Kilowatt model, pretty similar to the Shell model, so they're just charging you per kilowatt. The charge is quite high, as a lot of people have noticed. It's actually more than the Shell one, so it's 30p per kilowatt for non-Ecotricity customers, and it's 15 per kilowatt if you're an Ecotricity customer. So if you're an Ecotricity customer, it is very good value. 15p per kilowatt is extremely good value for obviously if you're part of their energy company. Now, a lot of people have argued that the 30p obviously will work out a lot higher for full charges compared to the old £3 model per kilowatt model. Now, it is actually better. Bear with me on this. The reason it's better is if you're only going for a splash and dash, so you basically stop at the service station, you want a quick wee, grab a coffee and go. So you plug in, 10-minute charge, come back and you've gone. It's cheaper for you, a lot cheaper. If you're going to sit there for the full 45-minute charge, then obviously it's not cheaper. But most people's attitude will change to rapid charging, and the reason for this is if you're paying £3 connection charge and you're paying per kilowatt as well, you're going to stay for the max time allowed, and the reason you're going to do that is you've paid the connection charge, so there's no disadvantage to you staying there for the full 45 minutes or staying there for less. So the idea of this is, by changing to a kilowatt model, if someone actually only wants to do a 10-minute charge, they'll do a 10-minute charge and go. So in reality, it should free up some charges, and it also should get rid of some plug-in hybrids in reality, because the plug-in hybrids shouldn't be using rapids full stop, and really Ecotricity maybe should put some lower kilowatt charging posts next to their rapid charging posts and put a sign saying these are for plug-in hybrids only. That would be a bit better. Now, part of this Ecotricity announcement was also to announce a new energy tariff. So Ecotricity, probably one of the greenest energy companies, well, that's what they claim they are, one of the greenest energy companies out there. They've launched a new pricing structure for their energy tariffs, and if you sign up to that, not only will you get the 15p per kilowatt on the highway, but you'll also get a discounted Rolex charger, which after the OLEV grant, it will be £99, so fairly cheap install charger, £99. And the Rolex charger is a good charger, same charger I've got, I'm very happy with it. So obviously the new prices for the highway are coming in the 3rd of January, and we'll see how it goes, see how everyone sort of adjusts to it. It'd be interesting to see what Shell do, because obviously Shell might end up putting the price up because of this. But a lot of people have been wanting to move away from the £3 connection charge, and majority of electric car drivers just want to do a splash and dash. They don't want to stay 45 minutes. You want to stay 20 minutes, get enough charge to move on to your next destination. Rapids aren't meant to fully charge your car. They're meant to enable journeys. So they're meant to sort of top you up. So that's the idea of it. The idea is you can keep moving. Now, there was some other news that Ecotricity sneaked in under a tweet. But first, let me just tell you my story of when I went to use my first public charge point quite recently. Actually, I've only ever charged at home, and a couple of weeks ago me and my partner are getting married soon, so we went to go meet the vicar, and we had to do quite a round trip. Now, one idiot forgot to plug his car in the night before, so I didn't have enough mileage to do the trip I wanted and the trip I wanted to do afterwards. So I wanted to travel from where I live to Bakewell, and then from Bakewell to the Trafford Centre in Manchester. So quite a long journey, no way within the Zoe range in the summer, definitely not within the Zoe range in the winter, and definitely not within the Zoe range when you already took 10 miles out of it the night before and forgot to charge it up. So what I had to do was drive to Bakewell, see the vicar. Great, vicar said he'll marry us, good result I suppose. And then I had to drive to Manchester Trafford Centre. Now, what I did on the way, we had to go meet the mother-in-law to pick up a gift for my grand's birthday. So we stopped at Buxton. If you've heard of Buxton, it's where Buxton mineral water comes from. We stopped at Buxton, and Buxton actually has a CYC charger. That's a charge your car charger. It's a 22 kilowatt post, so fairly fast charging post. and I didn't need a full charge because obviously I had quite a bit left still. I just wanted to top up so I could make Manchester and come back from the Trafford Centre, because if you've ever tried to park at the Trafford Centre, it's a nightmare. So I thought I'd get a quick top up charge there. It was reasonably decent cost. I can't remember the price per kilowatt. When I find it after this video, I'll display it up here so I can tell you what they charged me for the charge and how much it was per kilowatt. So I plugged in at the Cavendish Hospital, went for a sandwich and a bite to eat at Costa, came back from Costa after having the sandwich, bite to eat and picking up my grand's present, and the car was pretty much fully charged. There was about, I think, 10 minutes left to charge, so obviously I'm not going to wait that 10 minutes. That's eating into time that I don't want to waste, and I don't need to. So I unplugged the car and put the car away to charge, and then drove to Trafford Centre. Just for argument's sake, I thought I'd try and find the Trafford Centre's free charging. Couldn't find them, so it was a good job I did charge at Buxton. Now, the reason I mention this is, when I went to charge a car, I've never used any public infrastructure, and obviously making these videos, doing these YouTube video blogs for electric cars, I've obviously learnt a lot, and I thought I knew how to do it straight off the bat. I thought it'd be dead easy, I can charge my car dead quick, I know what I'm doing. No. Got there, and trying to figure out how to plug the car in and make the app work, it's too confusing. Eventually I worked out that you start the app, then you plug your car in, and then it starts charging. Or did I plug it in and then start charging? I can't remember. It took me longer to plug the car in than it did to walk down from where the car was parked to where I was going. That's how long it took. It took a stupid amount of time to plug it in. Now, this could be made a lot easier if you didn't need an app. If they were just contactless charging points, which I believe these CYC charging points will work contactless. So why they don't have a contactless card, either using your credit or debit card, or even their own RFD card, which is linked to your credit card so you don't have to use the app. This would make a lot more sense to a lot of people. Just display the tariff, display the price on the actual charger, like a pay and display car park, and tap and go. Now, Ecotricity have snuck in this tweet this week, or last week, which was about the charging infrastructure, about how they are planning on putting contactless payment into their chargers, their new chargers. Now, I'm going to presume their new chargers are going to be a higher kilowatt, because you wouldn't be installing new chargers on the current kilowatt, because obviously the infrastructure now is moving way beyond what our current charging infrastructure is. I think even the Shell one delivers so much for the whole charge, where I believe Ecotricity tailed down. And there's some companies abroad which are fitting really high, massive kilowatt chargers. So I presume Ecotricity are going to be installing a higher kilowatt charging thing, but obviously there's no announcement on that, but it'd be interesting to see what they go with. Contactless payments, they have definitely said they're going to start putting onto the new chargers, so whether they're the same chargers they've got now and they're just putting things, but by the sounds of it, they said they're going to retrofit their old ones, so that sounds like they're looking at a whole new charging post completely, and hopefully they're going to retrofit the old charge post with contactless payment, which would be great. This will just smooth and make things easier. You don't have to mess around on your app in the rain, you don't have to get cold, you can just tap your contactless card and start the charge. Dead quick, dead easy, no messing around on the app. No, obviously with Ecotricity you don't have to worry about mobile signal because they've got Wi-Fi hotspots, but it will just speed things up. It'll make things a lot easier for electric car drivers, and hopefully other companies will also follow suit, which it looks like a lot of them are going to have to, if under the way the government are pushing the legislation in electric cars. They're going to push towards either a one centralised app or simplifying payments, because it needs to be simplified. It's far too complicated. I did a video on apps not long ago, and on the apps I mentioned that to simplify everything, why don't we just go contactless? Contactless payments. Everyone's got contactless payments on the cards, mobile phones now, Apple Pay, Google Pay. It's there, so that's what we need to move towards, and I think that's the way the industry is now heading towards. I think they're all agreeing that that is the best solution to head towards. As I mentioned before, Shell actually have a three-headed charging post. Now, three-headed charging posts are really, really important, and the reason they're important is it covers every EV made today. It'll charge DC and AC cars. It'll charge CHAdeMO, CCS, and obviously Type 2. Now, the reason that's important is all the cars made today can charge by all those three standards. The Zoe can charge AC up to 43 kilowatts. Obviously, you can also install, it can charge lower rates, but 43 kilowatts is their rapid charge, depending on what motor you have. If you have the Q motor, another video about that. If you check out the little eye in the top corner, it's got a list of other videos and a list of other information that you can get. But if you've got the quick charge, you can charge AC. That Zoe can't charge DC. It can't charge DC CCS, and it can't charge DC CHAdeMO because it doesn't have that capability. Maybe the new Zoe will do in 2019, but we're a while away from that, a couple of years away. Zoes are still being made with Type 2 that can charge by AC only. And Shell have as an oil company, they thought ahead. They thought of this, and they've decided, because of the Zoe's going to be made for so long, it's the most popular. The Renault Zoe is one of the most popular cars, electric cars, because it's affordable, it's cheap. Notice I said Renault there because everyone keeps jipping at me because I keep saying Renault. So I'm going to start saying Renault from now on to make everyone happy. But obviously the Renault Zoe can charge AC only, and it's going to be made for quite a while. So Shell have put a three-headed charge post in. Now, why am I going on about three-headed charge posts? The reason is this company. This company is called Instavolt. For some reason, they have decided that they only want to install two heads. That is CCS and CHAdeMO, and it's DC only charging. It can only charge DC cars. Every time you try and question this company on their decision, they just send back a standard tweet, which is this one here, saying check our website for the reason. And the reason is just rubbish. It basically just says, we believe that in the future all cars will be DC, which is, yes, they probably will be. The charging infrastructure will probably move to DC only. But at the moment, there is plenty of cars still being made with AC only charging that can't do DC charging. So why drop support from them when they might be around for, the Zoe's going to be here till 2019. We're about to hit 2018, and those 2019 Zoes on AC only charging are still going to be on the road in 8 years' time. So why drop support for them now? They're still driving, they're still going to need rapid charging. Yes, if you made this decision in 2025 and started only installing DC at that point, yes, that would make sense. It even makes sense if they did it in 2020, because you'll start installing infrastructure for the next generation. If they don't make any more AC cars after 2020, it would make sense to drop it. But why you're still making AC cars, and obviously why these cars will still be driving on the road for at least another 10 years, why drop the infrastructure for them completely? It makes no sense. The fact that an oil giant, Shell, have noticed that you need to put AC infrastructure in to support and attract the drivers, why, as a charging only company, would you only install two-headed chargers? It makes no sense. Now, I've got lots of owners from Nissan, Tesla, and obviously the Renault Zoe Owners Club watching my videos. And I think it's really important that all of you club together and tweet this company, because at the moment, yes, they're dropping they're dropping the AC chargers for the Renault Zoe and obviously the smart car and some various other cars. Now, it might not affect you as a Tesla owner, and it might not affect you as a Leaf owner. It doesn't affect you now. But imagine we move on in 5 years' time and they decide that they're going to drop your standard of charging cable and they're moving to a new standard charging cable, and then your car's no longer supported. But your car's going to be on the road for another 5 years, 10 years, and they've dropped the infrastructure for it. You're going to get angry, you're going to get annoyed that they've dropped that infrastructure. So to stop companies doing tricks like this, they need to support the car for at least as long as it's going to be sold. And that's when they can, obviously that's when it makes sense to drop the infrastructure and start installing the new standard. But while those cars are still being made, you can't drop the standard. It doesn't make any sense. So whichever car you drive, it's important that we barrage these companies trying to install two-headed chargers, because one day it might be you, and you might be stuck on the side of the fence and wish you kicked up a stink earlier on. There should be some sort of legislation that forces them to install the three-headed plugs. Now, there is a tweet going around with the hashtag hashtag AC Instagate. So put the hashtag up there. So it's hashtag AC Instavolt. If you put that and then also tweet the Instavolt themselves and complain about how they're not doing the AC plug. If everyone starts barraging this company, everyone starts giving them the bad press that they need to get. They need to get some bad press about this. If everyone starts pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, because there's councils out there that are having charge points installed by Instavolt, which are only two-headed. The council have gone down the wrong route there. Obviously, there's a lot of people in councils that are misinformed and don't understand the electric thing, so they employ an outside company like Instavolt to install the chargers. But if Instavolt are giving them the wrong information, you can't blame the council. It's not the council's fault, it's Instavolt's fault for having a stupid management structure in their company that have decided to just save each charge. It's probably saving them 600 quid not to have an AC. The power that comes from the grid is AC. They're converting it to DC. They don't even need all they need to put the cable there so they can charge the car. It's roughly about £600 per charging. It might even be less. I'm just taking a wild guess, but I believe from the charging, sort of how much the charging stations are, I don't think there's a massive difference to have the extra cable. They could even put a 22 kilowatt plug your own cable in socket, which some other companies have put in. Now that would be fine. 22 kilowatts is better than no kilowatts. Rapid charger is very important to a Zoe, especially Zoes with small batteries like mine, which has obviously already got the small 22 kilowatt battery. If you've got a small battery, rapid charge is more important to you than if you've got a Tesla that does 220 miles to a charge, or even the new Renault Zoe, which obviously does, the ZE40 does a lot more to a charge. If you've got those two, then obviously rapid isn't as important to you. It is important, but if you've got a lower battery, you're going to need to rapid more often. So why drop the infrastructure? You're dropping a really important customer there that's going to need to rapid more. So we need to push companies like this to start installing three-headed chargers. So please take up in arms with the Renault Zoe Owners Club and start tweeting this company to try and force a change in their marketplace, so they change the way they're installing chargers, because eventually one day they might say we're dropping CHAdeMO, we're dropping CCS, and you might in the future be stuck in this situation like many owners, many of the owners of Renaults are stuck. I said Renaults there, not Renault, sorry. So thank you very much for watching the video this week. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Please share this video, because with us obviously barraging Instavolt about this, please share it. There's a poll in the top corner to take part in if you click the little eye as well. And I hope to again see you next week. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.